Barcelona with a 1-0 victory over Espanyol, closing the gap at the top of the table once again to 1 point. Espanyol, meanwhile, relegated for the first time in 27 years. We're here to talk about that game at the Camp Nou. Julien, Laurent, Frank Leboeuf and birthday boy, Ali Moreno. Hey. Ali, what a birthday treat. 90 minutes of watching that rubbish.
Yes, indeed, a birthday gift for me. I have to say, the best thing that could have happened to the game was maybe the red cards. Maybe that's a highlight because that opened up a little bit of space for both teams, but Espanyol never really wanted to get out and attack Barcelona. Even though, if you look at the game and the balance of the match, the first two really good chances of the game fell to Espanyol on the counterattack. One to Mbarba down the right-hand side and Vidal down the left-hand side. And he hits the post, and Mbarba takes a shot to the far post, and Ter Stegen comes up with a big save. Barcelona, after so much optimism following what was a very impressive last game, you thought, okay, well, maybe this is where they play Villarreal. They look good doing it. Antoine Griezmann is playing in the position that he prefers, and Lionel Messi is just going to drop back in a playmaking position. It's all going to be great, and it wasn't. And something that I was concerned and fearful of following that Villarreal match was that when things are not going well in the attack for Barcelona and you're not getting the same fluid movement that you did against Villarreal, you saw that Lionel Messi, instead of staying underneath the strikers, he started drifting into wider positions. Then that forced Antoine Griezmann to drop into a playmaking position. And so whenever the ball was played into the 18-yard box, as Suarez is moving off the ball, he's the only option inside the 18-yard box. Messi's out wide, Griezmann is underneath, no options in the attack, and there's nobody to put the ball in the back of the net, if not for Luis Suarez.
Jules, what happened? On your podcast, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Snapchat, on TikTok, on MySpace, on Friends Reunited, you were telling everybody that Antoine Griezmann playing in the right position will prove to be the greatest thing that Setien has done. We thought we'd solved the puzzle, yet today, Barcelona very lethargic.
Yeah, that's true, very lethargic, although the trio, Griezmann, Messi and Suarez, is involved on the goal. And, you know, I thought, obviously Ali is right on everything he said. It's easier to play that way against Villarreal, who are an attacking team, who will leave you a lot of space, who will have quite an expanding style of football and performance. Then against Espanyol, where it's 11 men behind the ball, where there's no space and where you're very static because there's nowhere to go really. So it was always going to be a tricky game, regardless of your formation and what kind of game plan you had for a game like the one tonight. So I think it's hard to judge after what we saw against Villarreal, is the two sides of that formation. I did think that the Griezmann ball through for Suarez in the first half was the only good moment that Barca had in our first half, and then Suarez missed that chance. And at times tonight, he didn't really look fit, I thought, and even struggled to run at times. He scored the goal, but on that chance especially, it was really strange the way he hit it with his left foot. It almost looked like a pass and not even a shot. But I think they will still need to work on the link-up play between the three up front. And after the goal, there's another move where Messi passes to Griezmann, who looks for Suarez in a wattage sort of backheel thing. So it would take a bit of time, but it was always going to be harder tonight against a team that plays so defensive than against Villarreal.
I suppose Barcelona did win, Frank, but it's no surprise that Espanyol came there and put up the formation that they did, but Barcelona should be used to that, to be breaking down these sort of defences. Let's not forget, Barcelona didn't have a single shot on target at home in the first half.
Yeah, that was very appalling. And at the same time, it takes two to tango, as we all say. And Espanyol Barcelona did everything to shut down the game and give no chance to Barcelona. That's fair, because they know that they're not good enough to compose with Barcelona if they want to attack and play like Villarreal did the game before and be smashed back by the Barcelona Football Club. So you know that's going to be a problem to Barcelona if you really stick together at the back and you play not maybe 11 at the back, but at least 9 at the back with the goalkeeper included, and don't try to play. But at the same time, they had the best chances to score in the first half, and Barcelona had almost none, was only with the chance with Suarez and the free kick of Messi. I don't know what's going on with Barcelona when they know that they're going to have to find a way in a very crowded space, when they have to go on the side, but they keep on going in frontal, central, and they don't try to change the pace of the game, the rhythm of the game. Maybe they're not capable of, but if they're not, they have people on the bench for that. I don't know why Quique Setien kept Ansu Fati on the bench, Ricky Puig on the bench, and just put Ansu Fati half time, where unfortunately got red carded straight after. But you have to pick the right 11 players to start according to what what you expect to see from the team you're going to play against. And we all knew that Espanyol Barcelona is going to play like that. So why do you play with slow player, with player don't change or not able to change the pace of the game? I don't know. That's another mistake, I think, from Quique Setien this season.
Frank, you mentioned the red card. Was it the right decision?
I think it's a bit harsh on the two actions, in a way that we compare with what we saw with Nketiah yesterday with Arsenal Leicester, where Nketiah didn't touch the ball and kicked straight the player and almost broke his knee. The two players, they get the ball first and then they hit the player. So yeah, it can be a red card. I think a yellow card would have been enough. On top of it, when you see that none of the two players got injured after that. But I can understand that the ref can give also a red card, because it's the way they attack the ball, it's also dangerous. So I can understand that too.
What do you think, Ali? Was it a red?
Yeah, both of them were red cards. And I can tell you that Paul Lozano's red card for Espanyol had to be a red card once you had given the red card to Ansu Fati, because they were very similar plays, very similar instances. So if you're going to give that red card to Ansu Fati as he comes and makes contact with the ball, but on the follow-through makes the contact that he makes with the player, then similarly, Paul Lozano does exactly the same thing with Gerard Piqué. Comes over the top of the ball and makes the contact the way that he does, endangers the safety of the player. I don't think there was any doubt that that second one was going to be a red card once you had set the precedent of sending Ansu Fati off just a couple minutes earlier.
Any chance of Barca? 1 point behind Real Madrid with a game in hand. 4 matches to go for Real Madrid, 3 for Barcelona. Jules?
I think it'd be too difficult. I mean, I don't see Real Madrid dropping any points against Alaves, for example, in the next game on Friday night. I don't see them dropping points against Granada in the next game either. Barca will have to go to Valladolid as well a couple of days before that. Of course, it can still happen. Let's not forget as well that in the head-to-heads, Real Madrid are ahead, so it's actually a 2-point lead now, not just a 1-point lead. So I just don't see it happening.
This show's so funny, and Jules mentioned Friday, that will be the draw for the Champions League after the win against Villarreal. You know, everyone was quite positive and thinking, you know, maybe this could be a run that Barcelona could make in the Champions League. How do you get them consistently good, Ali? I suppose that's the question that Barca fans want to know. So when they go into those matches in August, you feel confident that we can see that sort of performance that they put in the first half against Villarreal, as opposed to that shocking display that we saw in the opening 45 minutes today?
It's not a straightforward answer, Dan, and it's a quite complicated one, because you can, as I mentioned earlier, the first good chances, real chances in the game fell to Espanyol. And let's not forget as to what this Espanyol team is. A team that this far into the season, they've only won 5 games. And they have the worst offensive record in the league. And yet, in transition, they were still able to create clear opportunities against Barcelona. And in the end of the game, Barcelona is hanging on at home, at the Nou Camp. They are the ones hanging on against Espanyol. Not just passing the ball around, not just keeping possession, not dictating the pace of the game, but Espanyol pushing forward and Barcelona having to defend and Ter Stegen having to come up with a save. So right now you look at Barcelona and you can hang on to the Villarreal game if you want, but the totality of Barcelona as a team goes beyond the one positive performance that they've had. you have to look in terms of this team defensively. They have issues with the speed of the game. Whenever they play against somebody that has change of pace, that's going to be complicated for them because they like to commit numbers forward. They lose the ball in a bad area because their possession hasn't been nearly as good and nearly as effective. And now you're tracking back, hoping that Gerard Piqué can cut out the danger. And if he doesn't, then Ter Stegen's got to come up with a big save. If those things don't happen, Barcelona is trailing. And when they start trailing, that's when Lionel Messi tries to do his own thing because he's trying to resolve a problem. That's when you're going to need an outstanding performance from Antoine Griezmann with consistency. That hasn't quite happened. That's when you're going to need a healthy Luis Suarez. He doesn't look healthy to me. And so, all in all, I just see a Barcelona team that is flawed, and eventually these things are going to show up, and they're going to show up in a big way. Certainly Champions League will be the sort of stage in which you would expect this sort of thing to show up again.
Final question, Jules. And I know both Manchester City and Barcelona still have work to do, but say they both make it through to the quarterfinals. With your PSG, fan zone, fan TV, big old supporting hat on, Bayern Munich, Manchester City, Barcelona. Who do you want in that order?
I think I'll go Barcelona first. I think City are a step above, and I think Bayern are even a step above again. So, but over one game and just one game in 90 minutes or 120 minutes, I think anything can happen against anyone. But I agree with everything Ali just said, and I still think that this Barca side will arrive in the Champions League way below a team like City and way below a team like Bayern.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.